Hello, everyone, and good evening, and to another episode of Boleros. As you can see from the title, we had originally planned to do an NBA episode because we also need some basketball therapy ourselves after the past couple of weeks of negativity, sad news for us, and we do want to address the elephant in the room first before we actually get to talk about NBA because we want to. It's also for us, and if you enjoy the NBA basketball, we hope you get to listen. But yeah, the elephant in the room. We know just this morning, the CIDG, uh, represented and by the Secretary of Interior and Local Government, si John Vic Remulla, announced that they recommended to the Department of Justice that they will to file cases on Coach Tab Baldwin and 10 other members of the coaching staff of the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Essentially, all the non-players who were present in Aurora under the Anti-Hazing Act. So we do recognize that this was a result of a thorough investigation, and there are still investigations ongoing. I know a lot of you will want to hear what we say, and I know some of you are asking already for some input from us. But all three of us agreed it's not the right time yet, given that there's still a lot of things going on. I think Sam and Maui are both in agreement with that. One thing we do want to say though is we do want to combat again the huge amount of misinformation that's spreading because of what happened this morning, because of the reports that came out of the press conference this morning that Coach Tab and all the non-player personnel present in the Aurora Beach Resort are recommended to be filed cases on the anti-hazing act, and this has caused a lot of spreading again of the in, the fake news that this type of hazing is what we usually think of at hazing, that there was your fraternity type hazing, like beating, intentional drowning, ankle weights, which the police have already denied, and I think the NBI director, si Melvin Matibag, has already denied as well that there was no ankle weights, there was no bruise, there were no bruises on the bodies of the two players, Divine and Rene. So and I know a lot of people have gone got and have piled on the players again. Why are the players not being filed cases against? Bakit hindi kasama yung mga players sa listahan na to? Again, I think what the CIDG stated yung this morning proved that what sina Kiefer Alas, Sam Reyes, Jared Bahay, Ian Espinosa, and Drew Bongo recounted kind of is true. They were also victims of what happened. So please, we implore those who are spreading fake news to stop, those who are spreading misinformation to stop piling on the players who are victims of this as well. All right, they also nearly died, they saw their teammates die, and they live with the guilt that they were the ones who survived. So yun lang. We don't think it's the right time to do a full episode on this. It's We don't think it's proper yet. Again, we know what was recommended by the CIDG, and I think Ateneo has acknowledged and respected that decision. We'll see what comes of it. what the Department of Justice does, what the NBI will eventually come out with, what the CHED will eventually come up with, what the independent fact-finding body of Ateneo will come out with. So, marami pa nangyayari, and we just wanted to say our piece on that. Maui Sam, anything to add before we get to our NBA topics?
All right, I think that's it. Just stick to your legitimate news sources and stop the hate on the players. They're also victims. Uh, yeah, let's move on to the episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gablim, and the Prophet, Mr. Maui Yap. Balik NBA tayo. Daming nangyari sa NBA in the past few days.
I do wanna personally thank the NBA for giving us a break, for giving us much needed excitement and talking points in our chat. Kasi medyo naging malungkot yung chat natin.
Heavy.
Maui Sam eh. Heavy at yung at malungkot. But thank you to Lamelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nagkagulo yung chat namin kagabi.
I know. Actually, right now, Gab, like, I'm refreshing kasi baka mamaya merong ulit bigla ang news just like last night.
Baka may gulatan.
Oo, may gulatan.
Baka si Lebron, yung nag-retire na pala, di natin alam.
Retire na no? Hindi na nag-resign sa Lakers. But yeah, you mentioned it, Gab, yung Lamelo Ball. I think that was surprising for us. Parang yung surprised scale, Gab. How surprised were you? First of all, at least it's not like Luka level surprise because yung Luka from zero when Shams announced it was done, diba? It was a done deal. At least etong Lamelo, Maui, I remember you were the one who like mentioned it first na parang, there are talks. Looks like Lamelo's getting traded. And Gab, parang tayo, totoo ba yan? Like, baka hindi pa yan mangyayari. And then,
yung
boom!
Trade talks lang yan.
Trade talks. And then, few hours later, boom! Like, on the surprise scale, Gab, 1 to 5, how shocked were you na talagang nangyari?
I wouldn't say it's Luka level, but definitely it was still holy shit.
Holy shit, no?
Levels for me because I'm gonna get to it later. I did not think that Charlotte would actually push through with this.
Pull the trigger.
They would actually pull the trigger. And siguro there were two levels of shock. One that Charlotte actually did it, and two that the return they got. This was the only thing. One player and one first round pick was the only thing you got for your franchise
pick swaps,
star.
Tatlong pick swaps ba?
3 pick swaps. But Sam, are they even gonna be?
Are the Wolves going to be bad?
Gonna be worse?
Bad enough.
Gonna be bad?
Yeah. Bad enough to be for those picks to be valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. So yun. So still a holy shit type of shock for me. I do remember I was watching some anime, Sam. Nanonood ako ng anime sa TV. Pero may vibration.
Anong anime na yung pinapanood mo ngayon? So sorry, just quick random.
That time I got reincarnated as a slime. It's an
I hear it's good
anime. It's really good.
Yeah,
I think it's
I hear it's good.
Next season. But anyway, I was watching that and a vibration on my phone and then
may vibrations kang na feel. Sabi mo, parang may trade na nangyayari.
Tapos nakita ko Lamelo traded to the Wolves. Like, what? He actually did it. Tapos nakita ko yung package. Like, what the hell? So, yeah. Thank you, Lamelo. And the Hornets and the Wolves for boggling my mind, just taking my mind off what we've been going through the past couple of weeks. Maui.
I love that reaction, Gab, yung what, no? Ikaw, Maui, how surprised were you? And also, my next question, I had the same reaction. What? What the hell? But like the next question was like, why? Why for both sides? So, Maui, how was your reaction? And then like, why do you think this happened? Like this early, why?
Yeah, I guess yung Minnesota, it was too good of a deal. As Gab mentioned, I think they were able to get Lamelo Ball for pennies on the dollar, which is kind of weird because this is finally the time that the Hornets were able to break through and get to the playoffs, finally become a contending team. I think they were one of the best teams since 2026 started. That's why they had that magical run to the playoffs. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised why the Hornets had to pull this off. Is Kobe White the right point guard for them? Uh, I'm a big Kobe White fan. Si Sammy knows that, but I don't know. Is he the right point guard for them? I guess he was scoring 15 a game for 19 minutes, but I think they have need a floor general with all of all of the players that they currently have right now. So many mouths to feed. For Minnesota, I think they really wanted to pull the trigger. They had it with Julius Randle. I actually saw a graphic saying that Minnesota could be champions in 2 or 3 seasons. Kasi when Randle was traded from the Lakers became champions. And the Knicks became champions. So
Oo nga,
let's see if
no?
that trend follows. I think Minnesota is starting to take risks because they want to please Anthony Edwards. I think they realize that maybe their lineup has already been is on its peak. Their previous lineup. Actually, I was surprised Naz Reid has a very contract a cap space friendly contract in my opinion. So the Hornets still did pretty well, but you would have expected definitely a bigger package for Lamelo. Iba na ngayon sa NBA. Star players are getting traded for 1 or 2 picks. Uh, elite role players are traded for three to 4 picks. So I don't know. The trend is so different right now in the NBA.
Yeah. Na-mention mo yung why for the Hornets, kind of hard to understand. People are saying, y- y- people were saying parang, oh, the Hornets are trying to sell high on Lamelo. But to Gab's point, parang, this is the highest Lamelo could get. It makes me also wonder, parang, just like the Luka trade, di ba? Did they actually consider other offers for Lamelo, or was this really the best offer that they could get? But to be fair to
Parang they did, Sam. Yung according to Shams, that they listened to ang dami na offer. Well, there were some teams that were aggressively offering.
Toronto was one, I
Yep.
think. Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair to Naz Reid, I think he's a huge loss also for Minnesota. Super fan favorite. I think if you listen to some of the podcasts already, like they also mentioned, I think they had like a tattoo parlor had like this promo, a Naz Reid tattoo. So a ton of Minnesota for like a couple of dollars lang. So apparently a ton of Minnesota people got a Nas Reid tattoo. What do you do with that tattoo now? Because Nas Reid is gone from not in Minnesota anymore. So that's how much of a fan favorite Nas Reid was. So he will definitely be missed. And I remember we were talking about him when Minnesota was in the playoffs. How he made so many crucial plays against Denver. I think in a couple of their playoff games. So it's not like he was just thrown in there. Nas, I think Maui, you mentioned also, he has the talent, but he also has a very nice and attractive contract. Especially now in the NBA, you need those types of contracts because it gets very restrictive. But Gab, for you, why did Charlotte do it, or why did Charlotte do it? Especially when they are starting to look good. On the other hand, um, why did Minnesota do it, and do you think it's worth the risk, the gamble
I'll,
on Lamelo?
I'll answer the second one first. Why Minnesota did it? As Maui said, I think they looked at what happened the past playoffs, and I think they had peaked with that roster, and and so they needed to make a change. So they needed to pivot from their current roster and do something different. And if you watch Julius Randle against the Spurs, I think you would agree that he sucked. And you know, Maui, tumatawa ka. He did. I think he scored 2 points in their game 6 loss. Uh, so when the Julius Randle trade happened, everyone was asking why did they salary dump a 20-point per game scorer to the Brooklyn Nets? And ako, in my head, they're not yet done. I'm sure they got a couple of trade exceptions. They got a ton of yung cap space yung freed up. They signed Ayo Dosunmu, but I'm sure they were not yet done. And to answer a second why did they do this, because they saw how Anthony Edwards acted in Game 6. You know, when the game wasn't done and he was already shaking hands with the Spurs. You know, you knew he was pissed. You knew he was pissed. They were blown out by the Spurs, so they needed to shake things up. And if you've seen the Wolves in the past 3 playoffs, they made 2 conference finals and the conference semifinals in the last playoff. It would always come down to blitzing or doubling Anthony Edwards to get the ball out of his hands. That is always what has happened to the Wolves every single postseason. The teams will just sell out on Anthony Edwards. They would just tell the Wolves, anyone beat us but Ant. And I think that became a problem. They needed another ball creator, another playmaker, and they got one of the best ones in the league. You say what you will about Lamelo
Mike
Ball.
Conley?
Sure. Say what you will about Lamelo Ball. He might put up crazy shots. He might be super inefficient. RIP my fantasy team last year. But you cannot discount that he can make plays. He can make shots. His assist percentage will probably go up. He will probably be tasked to distribute the ball more, allow Anthony Edwards to get off the ball more, just get some attention off Ant. And I think if you have one of the more dynamic playmakers in the league, that's a big plus for you. But for now, I think it's an incomplete for Minnesota. I understand why they did this, but I don't think they are done because their front court is just Rudy Gobert and his protege, si Johan Berenger. And that's it.
Si
They don't
Slow-mo. Si Kyle Anderson will have to
Ka-
play power
si-
forward.
Probably, but I don't think they want to play 35 minutes of Kyle Anderson, And I also don't think they don't want to put Jaden McDaniels as their full-time power forward because his
He's
strength
the best perimeter defender.
as being a perimeter defender. So I don't think they would want him to go on bigs. That would be a
Sugno
waste.
na raw. Bayad din eh.
Yeah, but Maui, sayang yung skills ni Jaden McDaniels if you just let him guard bigger power forward. So I don't think that they would want to do that. So I don't think that they're done. I do think they're still going to want to sign players. You get players in there, probably bigs to just to shore up that lineup. But they are definitely not giving up. They are definitely not throwing in the white towel and just giving it to the Thunder and the Spurs for next season. They want to compete. And getting LaMelo Ball is a sign to Anthony Edwards that, hey, we are going to compete. We are still going to build around you. And now with LaMelo Ball, and we're going to compete, try to compete with the Spurs and the Thunder. Now, I know why the Wolves did it. And to answer your first question, Sam, I still don't know why the Hornets did this. It boggles my mind why the Hornets did this. As Maui said, they were one of the best teams. Sige, Sammy, go ahead.
Second half, during the second half. No, I was thinking, just to jump on yung sinabi mo about Minnesota. Maybe they're also not yet done. That's the only thing that I can see right now, baka may plano silang something else. That's why they had to let go of Lamelo.
You mean
But
Charlotte, yung not Minnesota?
sorry, Charlotte. That's why they let go of Melo kasi they're not done yet, just like Minnesota. But the current picture, parang, huh? Why did they do that? Makes you wonder.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer, I don't know. Uh, they were one of the best teams. They were on the trajectory of the Detroit Pistons like 2 years ago. But the Pistons who were
Okay.
bad, they
Mm-hmm.
became good, and now they're one of the best teams in the league. Diba?
They
I
were
think
all young, like
they're
mostly
all
young
young,
players, so same
and
age.
yeah, same age. Ang ganda ng chemistry nila for the second half of the season. You could tell that they love playing with each other. Lamelo Ball was their best player. I know a lot of the spotlight went on Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, but La- Lamelo Ball made that engine run. They played at Lamelo Ball's pace. They were running and gunning because of how Lamelo Ball played. He was the engine that ran that offense and was behind a, a ton of the wins that they had in that second half of the season. And they were good defensively, which was surprising given that Lamelo Ball is not known as a good defender. They were good defensively. They unlocked something with having Musa Diabate at the five. They just switched everything. They could run all over the floor on defense. They could cover so much ground with how small they were and how quick they were on their feet. So I don't understand why you want to break that up. It seemed like the guys had bought into the style of play, both offensively and defensively. And it seemed like they were on the way up, but they traded their best player. I don't understand. And for Kobe White to start, I mean, as Maui said, Kobe White's a good player. He's not Lamelo Ball. Say what you want about Lamelo Ball, he's a much better player than Kobe White. And getting Naz Reid when they already had three young centers in their roster. Si Diabate is not young, but si Diabate, si Kalkbrenner, and they just drafted si Steinbach. I don't understand. Are they gonna start Naz Reid at center and then si Miles Bridges at the four, or are they gonna push Miles Bridges at the
At the
si
four.
Naz Reid
Nasrid at the four.
Nasrid yung at the four, put someone like Diabate at the five, just to have more shooting. And then are they gonna trade si Miles Bridges? Are they done with the Bridges Lamelo Ball combo? I don't understand. I really don't. I really don't. And yun nga you trade your franchise superstar for Naz Reid. Naz Reid is good as a good player. He's not on the same level as Lamelo Ball. The 2033 pick can end up being valuable, but that's it. yun, yun lang nakuha nila. I don't get it. This could end up being a really smart trade. Is Naz Reid and Kobe White that in that combination better than having Lamelo Ball on your team? So it could end up being a really genius trade if that is ever the case, or it can really be one of the worst trades ever. Just breaking up a really good thing.
Yeah, I read, no, sorry, I heard from one of the podcasts, I think magandang sinabi doon na for Minnesota, this is also a marketing strategy. They want to sell jerseys, and you know who sells a ton of jerseys? I'm pretty sure Lamelo Ball will sell a ton of jerseys in Minnesota, especially since I think recently they released yung retro jerseys nila, yung bago nilang jerseys na yung the blue and the greens. So, ang ganda nun
Julius
actually.
Randle pa yung model nun eh.
Oo nga, no? Si Julius Randle pa. Talagang siya pa pinili, no? Like, to model it. But yeah, so I think that's a good point. Getting Lamelo to sell jerseys. Second, I think maganda yung sinabi mo, Gab. I like that you mentioned how Charlotte was really good defensively last season, even though si Lamelo naman is not known as a defensive player. I think Minnesota saw that and they were like, Charlotte can be a good defensive team with Lamelo. Like, we can bring him in here and we can still maintain
Rudy,
that.
diba?
Yeah, exactly. We have Rudy. I mean, and Jaden McDaniels, diba? So, they weren't worried about essentially Lamelo defensively because they saw na he can be part of a good defensive team. On Charlotte's end, yun lang talaga for me. I think they're not done yet. We've seen sino ba yun? Memphis tra- uh, trade picks for a couple of second round picks to Detroit, and then the next day return those picks to Detroit to get Isaiah Stewart. We can talk about that later. So I don't know, maybe Charlotte will flip those pick swaps, Gab, for another player. I just feel like we're missing something here. But yeah, Maui, anything else to say on this Lamelo Ball Naz Reid trade?
I don't know if may moves pa in Charlotte because they just signed Kobe White to a
True.
huge contract too. So let's see. But as a Charlotte fan, I'm sure a lot. I talked to a lot of nephews, and a lot of them surprisingly like Lamelo Ball and the Charlotte
Yung mga
Hornets.
bata no? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Kids
true.
and
love him. Kids love
may-
Lamelo.
let's see if they follow Lamelo to Minnesota. But yeah, very exciting pairing. Lamelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, same class. I heard online people joking maybe the next thing they need to do is get James Wiseman to complete
Wiseman.
the first 3 picks
They need a big
of that
naman
class.
talaga, diba? Kailangan mo
They
ng
do
big.
need the big. They do need the big.
But yeah, I think Minnesota will follow what Charlotte was doing last year. They will definitely shoot a lot of 3-pointers now with Lamelo and Anthony Edwards together. I'm excited to see them because they're trading some. They've traded players for youth, and I think Minnesota is not done as Gab mentioned. But I think Charlotte. This is a very Charlotte move. Small market who doesn't want to pay
Mm.
somebody. So let's see. But I'm excited for Minnesota. Let's see how they make that trade exception work and get another player.
Curious also to see Lamelo play with Ant because he is not the number one on that team. It's definitely Anthony Edwards. So I want to see how Lamelo works as a number 2 in an NBA
I can't
team.
wait for the quotes. Yun lang masasabi ko. These are two of the most quotable quote guys.
Exactly.
league.
That's what I was gonna say. Actually, si
Masira na ulo
Ant
ni-
din is like crazy. Yeah, that's
Masira
crazy.
ng ulo ni Finch because of these two.
How is he gonna coach Lamelo Ball?
Magandang point yun, Gam. Magandang point yun. Siguro, let's talk about the next big blockbuster trade. Kung yung Lamelo trade took like less than 48 hours to materialize, etong next blockbuster naman took too long. Took like 2 years, over 2 years, and I think too little too late for Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee finally trading Giannis to the Heat for Tyler Hero and a couple of picks. Kelal Ware, also Jaime Jaquez, a bunch of good quality players. I think si Navs, shout out to Navs, Miami Heat fan, probably is excited
Navs
for
is
this
happy.
trade. He's happy kasi wala si Thanasis, by the way. Hindi kasama si Thanasis sa trade.
Susunod yan. Susunod
Mahabol din
yan.
yan.
The memes, by the way. The
Mahabol din yan.
memes on Thanasis and the Giannis trade. Golden. Maui, let's go with you. Reactions to this trade. How would you grade the trade for both teams?
Yeah, I think yung kahit pa paano yung diba, we've said star players are not getting enough compensation. I think the compensation for Giannis was enough. A boatload of picks, Tyler Hero, Kela Ware,
Jaquez,
the Bucks.
Yakchonis.
Buckets.
Yakuchonis.
The Bucks can I'm expecting the Bucks to next trade si Miles Turner, who they signed by stretching Lillard's 100 million contract. So
Oh my
it will
God.
take a lot of years for the Bucks to turn this around, but I think this is the first step. I think that is the first step. I think the Miami fans are so excited, but I don't think this is the level of LeBron James. I don't think Giannis brings that level of competence to Miami that I could honestly say that they're title contenders immediately. I think Miami has to lock up Norman Powell next. I think they will have to get some gems, which they are very good at finding. because their contracts, their salary cap is committed to probably their starting five already, with Bam getting paid, with Wiggins getting paid, and I think si Powell should be paid. Yeah, I think Miami has wanted to trade Hero for years, much like the Bucks have wanted to trade Giannis for years. But excited because Miami is a pretty good organization. I'm excited to see how they maximize the next 5 years for Giannis, because I was actually so shocked to see that si Giannis is already 31 years old. That's how old we are, guys.
Yeah.
Giannis
Shut up,
is
Maui. Shut up.
already getting to the second part of his career. Diba? I don't know if Giannis will have 10 more good years. I think realistically he will have 5 more good years. Let's see if he can translate his game. I saw some clips that Giannis posted that he was practicing yung 3-point shot niya with a better stroke. I don't know if that's Ben Simmons levels of
We've seen that
highlight
before.
reels. But I'm excited to see their defense. Definitely. Giannis and Adebayo in the same lineup will be pretty amazing to see on the defensive end. Will they be able to make that work? I think Adebayo developing his outside shot has been a blessing for Miami for this trade. I think Kelaware, I'm excited to see for fantasy people. A lot of people are excited to see si Miles Turner getting traded because we want to see Kelaware fully unleashed
Unleashed.
in Milwaukee. So that's something I'm excited about. Yeah, definitely yung I think yung Bucks are on the right path. 'Di ba? They just got Ryan Rollins for an AJ Mitchell type of contract. So let's see how it ends up for both teams. But I cannot say that Miami is a title contender right now. Let's see how it fits.
Gab, do you like this trade better than the supposed Jalen Brown trade?
Sige, Sam, before I answer that question, I do want to point out a few things. One, in terms of the shock meter, I was a meh on this because as you said, Sam, we've heard this for a long time
Kapagod na eh.
already. Diba? This exact trade was was being talked about like even before last season, diba? So but in all fairness, as Maui said, given how late that they pulled this off, I still think the Bucks got a decent return, diba? In terms of players, in terms of draft assets. I think it was decent, and they still have some veterans that they can trade and turn into more young players and draft assets. The other thing I'm pretty excited about you in this trade, and I don't know why the both of you skipped on this. Kyle Kuzma and Tyler Hero are on the same team. It, isn't Tyler Hero dating Kyle
Akala ko
Kuzma's
kung ano
ex?
eh.
Diba?
Akala ko kung ano sabihin mo.
Kyle Kuzma's still on this team, and
Kyle
his teammates
Kuzma,
with his,
start packing your bags.
I can't wait for 20 points per game Kyle Kuzma again, yung just like in the Wizards. Make it happen, Kyle Kuzma. But yeah, this was definitely the better trade compared to what the Celtics were rumored to offer. I think they only offered Jalen Brown and picks, but they didn't offer any of their young players.
The young guys. Yeah.
The rumor was they didn't want to put Hugo Gonzalez. And if
Pogi yun.
and if the Heat eventually win a championship or something with Giannis, Hugo Gonzalez is gonna be the name that comes up a lot. Na the Celtics didn't want to trade for Giannis because of this guy who averaged 4 points per game last season. Great job, Celtics. But yeah, siguro if you were the Bucks, would you want Jalen Brown with the current Bucks roster? I don't think so. Diba? I think you would want a lot of younger talent. Just try to reset it and just build from the bottom up. And they have a good
Plus
starting
that
place.
expensive contract that comes with Jalen Brown.
Yeah. As you said, Sammy, or or si Maui ba yung nagsabi nito, they still have assets. I think si Miles Turner is definitely on the trading block. There are some teams who need a center. Lakers. Who need a center. Uh, so and with a young prospect in Kelel Ware there on their roster, I don't. It makes it even more likely that they will uh trade Miles Turner. Again, it doesn't look really good because they're still paying Damian Lillard, who they stretched out to sign Miles Turner. So that does not look good. I'm not sure that of the thought process of John Horst and that front office of the Bucks. Will they actually trade Miles Turner and make them look really, really bad? Because I think for the upcoming season, see Lillard is owed 22 million, and that takes a hit on their cap.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. For the Heat side, again, I don't think they're done because they are extremely shallow. If you're looking for a long playoff run, I don't think playing Giannis and Bam heavy minutes, especially Giannis, who I think injured his
Banged up.
calf three times last season. So I don't think you'd want to put a lot of mileage on Giannis just to win enough regular season games to make the playoff. I do think you need depth. Sabi nga ni Maui, I think they can find some diamonds in the rough. But I do think they need quality players. Norman Powell, I think, is a big winner here. As Maui said, they need him more than ever. I mean, they need shooting around Giannis and Bam. Bam is trying to shoot; he's not yet there, but they need a lot of shooting. And Norman Powell is one of the best knockdown shooters. He's an unrestricted free agent. He can basically demand what he wants from Miami. You want me back? You need me back there. So give me this money. So whoever else, Andrew Wiggins, he's a decent shooter. I do think he stays, but they need more. They definitely need more outside of that starting five. I don't know if David Mitchell is going to be the full-time starter. Again, a shaky shooter. You need as much knockdown shooting around Giannis and around Bam. I don't think they're done. With regards to the Celtics, I think they're the biggest loser here. And I think the talks are now ongoing that they're really shopping Jaylen Brown, because how can you go back from this? It was out in the open that you were shopping him for Giannis, that you were willing to offer him for Giannis after his all NBA season.
And syempre, right after the trade, they were like, "Oh, Jaylen Brown is part of our future. We believe in him."
But Sam, Brad Stevens didn't even deny it.
Of
that
course,
he was part of the trade discussion.
How could he?
Diba? So, from Jaylen Brown's interviews, he seems like he's a very proud player. So, I don't think he'll take this sitting down. I think they tried to trade him away for Kevin Durant once upon a time. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that now they're trying to trade him again right after his best season, diba? He won Finals MVP for them in the championship run. He had an All NBA season, and they overachieved by all accounts. And yet they still try to trade him. Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown's time in the Celtics is done. I do think he's going elsewhere. To where, I don't know, but I do think he's going elsewhere.
Yeah. Ako, for Miami, I think Pat Riley finally gets his superstar. Alam mo naman si Pat Riley, always big game hunting, looking for the next big star. So, big win for them. I know they had to give up a ton of their main guys, but I think if you're Pat Riley, you always go for the big superstar names. Despite you guys mentioned it, Giannis being a bit on the older side. He's 31 and has had a couple of injuries the past couple of seasons. So hopefully he will have a couple of good years with Miami. Even with the current roster, I mean, if you have a superstar talent like Giannis, you have a chance. But yeah, yung depth, I think, is a problem. You guys mentioned it. Haslem probably has to come out of retirement. Mike Miller has to come out of retirement.
They don't need it. They just need Thanasis.
Si Thanasis lang, Thanasis lang. Speaking of Thanasis, for me, Milwaukee, on the Milwaukee side, I think, number one, I think this is a year too late. Should have done it earlier. Probably could have gotten better offers if Giannis was committed to a longer term contract. But to be fair to the Milwaukee to Milwaukee, to the GMs and everyone, I think they tried to do everything they can and they were very creative just to try to keep Giannis. Pero I draw the line at waving and stretching Dame Lillard. I think nung na-injure si Dame Lillard at you knew that he was going to be out for the season, the following season. Just trade Giannis. Trade Giannis. Crazy talaga yung wave and stretch. Now he's 22 million on your cap hit every year just because of that. Crazy. I mean, okay, you got the balls to do that, but you basically hurt your future the next 4 or 5 years. So that one was really bad for me. Also, I don't know how they traded Giannis without getting rid of one of Kuzma or Thanasis. Honestly, like dapat man lang they got rid of Thanasis or like Kuzma. But yeah, now we
What
get
if
to see
that was
Kuzma
what
and
took
Hero.
what if that was the reason why the trade took so long? Like the
Kasi
Bucks,
ayaw
no.
kunin ng Miami.
Miami's like, no,
It's like,
we're
no,
not
no,
taking
no, no, no.
Kuzma. We're not taking.
You attach picks if you give us Kuzma or
We're not
Thanasis.
taking Thanasis, and the Bucks were like, no, please take Thanasis. And then Heat was like, no, Kuzma, no. Yung
No
Heat pa yung
thanks, no thanks.
nagno-no.
That is a good point. I wouldn't be surprised kung yun. But yeah, the Bucks, they got a pick. They got a couple of picks in the first round. We'll talk about the draft later. So we'll see. At least see Tyler Hero is a Milwaukee kid. I think Wisconsin kid. So
Yep.
that's hometown hero type of stuff. Maui, any last thoughts? Okay,
Yeah, I think
moving
I'm good.
on. You guys want to talk about a couple of other trades? So, na-mention ko Isaiah Stewart or a couple of signings. Anything of note before we go to our ballers and boleros of the draft? Gab?
Austin Reeves, I'm glad he's back in LA. So
Got the
Luka-
bag.
Bayad si
Yeah,
Reeves.
I think the largest contract for an
think-
undrafted player.
Undrafted player. Nakita ko yun.
So,
Nabasa ko yun.
I love Austin. Austin, you're in. Classic. Whoever said that here in the Philippines.
Si Ant Edwards pa yung gumagaya diba?
Oh, Austin, you're in. So, love it. We just got, as a Lakers fan, we just got to build a roster around him. I don't know what LeBron is thinking or if they're gonna try to sign LeBron back by all the reporting. Mukhang hindi. And they do need a center. I don't think they'd want to bring back the Andre Ayton after the disaster.
Dominaton.
Disaster he had in the playoffs. But I'm happy at least Luka got one of his wishes. I mean, he does like Austin Reeves. I think they are friends. So, and I think they do work well together. Let's just see how the roster builds out after that. Others, Mark Williams, I think going back to the Suns, I think it's a very good contract. 3 years for 38 million for a starting
Low risk,
center.
high
That's-
reward.
Yeah, I think, well, if you look at Mark Williams' injury history, I think it's warranted if you're the Suns. Low impact, low risk contract there. But yeah, you like the upside. Let's see how Mark Williams can actually if he can actually stay on the floor and be productive. The contract that I actually was very surprised is the Blazers giving Mike Nori essentially a 1-year coaching contract Diba? I think I read this right. I read it in the Athletic. He got a 3-year deal, but the 2 years after the first one are non-guaranteed or are team
Not guaranteed.
options.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
Tryouts.
1 year tryout for a coach. That is crazy. I have never seen
Ayaw
that
kasi
before in
bayaran.
my.
Thiago
Oh,
Splitter.
they didn't want to pay si Thiago Splitter who went to the Bulls,
Bulls.
but yeah, that is really weird. That is really a weird contract. Mukhang yung rumors about si Tom Dundon, the owner of the Blazers, are maybe kind of true. He is a bit of a cheapskate. And I don't know how long he will last before the Blazers fan base turn on him. Because diba, if you have a owner that cheap and it shows on the court and players don't want to resign there or he doesn't want to pay players, they're gonna have a pretty bad team. So I don't know. It doesn't look good right now for Blazers fans. It looked like they got the one of the worst owners to actually buy their team.
At least they got Dame on a minimum. Thank you, Milwaukee. Shout out to Milwaukee. Yeah. Ako, I mentioned him, si Beefs too. I think landing in Memphis is just perfect. Perfect for Beef Stew. I love, na-mention ko to sa chat natin, Beef Stew and Ja Morant. I cannot wait for the memes, the fights, the celebrations.
The
Ja Morant
fines,
gets his,
the
the fines, the
suspensions.
suspensions. He gets his bodyguard in Beef Stew. I cannot wait. And I haven't finished the podcast yet, but si Verno from the mismatch loves the trade, loves the acquisition. Anything else, Maui, that stood out for you?
Dala na lang angas talaga. Legit na angas na si Beef Stew to Memphis, who I think is also still trying to trade Ja Morant. But I think there are no suitors so far. For me, yeah, I think si Gab touched on it a while ago. I think one of the biggest losers or the Boleros of the trade the NBA draft is definitely yung Boston Celtics, because what do they do? They knew now, diba? When Miami was able to land the big whale in Giannis, what's their next move? Because they are now affected by them putting Jaylen Brown on the trading block, and I think every day si Jaylen Brown is in the trading block. I just read a few minutes ago that Jaylen Brown was actually being shopped also to Minnesota for Gobert, Reed, and the similar draft compensation, much like Lamelo Ball. So, what does this message send to the Boston faithful? I've actually even seen si Derek White as a potential trade suitor for a team like Minnesota. So, let's see. But one of the favorites sa East is definitely reeling from that Giannis trade. I think New York also, the current NBA champion. I think James Dolan, once he won that championship, he doesn't want to spend more. And I think si Mitchell Robinson is now on the block,
Mm-hmm.
free agent. So I think the Lakers are one of the potential suitors. So interested to see how it plays out,
The
because
Lakers are always a suitor for
For
someone.
everyone,
For everyone
not
pala,
just
sorry.
someone, for
For
everyone.
everyone.
yeah, I think the Lakers are aggressively looking for a lob threat. Uh, if I read it correctly from Shams, I think si LeBron James is also a potential sign and trade target for Jared Allen. So lots of things to watch out for. Hopefully we don't get a lot of sleepless nights waiting for trades to happen. Some of my friends, when the season is very near and near the draft or near the trade deadline, a lot of them want to wait for these trades. And yeah, just some entertainment by the NBA. A lot of things have changed, I think. Even I think yung landscape of star players signing max contracts, I think that Jalen Brunson has changed the game. Let's see how the off season continues to unfold.
Okay, so we're almost an hour in, so let's do a quick bowlers and boleros
It
of
is
the
not gonna
draft.
be quick, I'm sure.
Let's start with the boleros. Let's start with the positive. Gabs.
Ballers, yan ka na naman
Ay,
eh.
Oh, yan na naman ako. Boleros kasi tayo eh. I think positive yung Boleros eh. But let's start with the ballers, Gab. Who are your ballers of the NBA draft?
My number one baller is Cameron Boozer. I think of all the top four picks, or actually of any of the lottery picks, Cam Boozer went to the situation where he is undoubtedly the number one slash 1A slash 1B guy. And with John Morant, as Maui said, actively being shopped. I mean, with how the season went for the Grizzlies last season, I don't think that the Grizzlies would want him to stay for another season in Memphis. So Cam Boozer went to a team where it is automatically his team already. Talk about instant favorite for Rookie of the Year. I think he is an instant favorite for Rookie of the Year because he is gonna get a ton of runway. I don't think they have anyone to prioritize over him. Honestly, John Morant is currently the star there, the superstar, the franchise superstar. But you know, I don't think he wants to play in Memphis. I don't think the fans anymore want him to play in Memphis, so he's on his way out. uh, this is automatically Boozer's team. He goes into the Cooper Flag situation when Dallas traded Anthony Davis. He is automatically their centerpiece. He's gonna average. I think he's gonna average 20 and 10 right away, off the bat. Their front court depth is Zach Edey and well, see
He's
Beefs
always
too.
injured.
Yeah, but he's always hurt. But he's automatically their starting power forward. I think he's a lock for 32 to 35 minutes a night. Uh, he's a great defender. He's a very effective offensive player. I don't think he's as good as Debanza or Peterson, but he's definitely a pretty good offensive player. Again, I think he's an instant favorite for me for Rookie of the Year because if you compare the situations of the other top picks, si Debanza has Trey Young on his team who just signed the max contract. He still has Anthony Davis there.
AD.
There's still si Alex Sarr. There's still si Keyshawn George. So, ang daming kaagaw for touches and playing time. And si Darren Peterson, same thing. He goes to a Utah Jazz team that's looking to be good. And they have a ton of players that need the ball. Keontae George had a breakout season last year. He's gonna demand the ball. See, Lauri Markin is still there. He's gonna demand the ball. They just acquired si Jaren Jackson Jr. He's gonna demand the ball. Realistically, see, Darren Peterson is maybe right now the fourth or third option, depending on how you look at it. Not to mention, they also have their top pick from last year, si Ace Bailey. So a lot of mouths to feed in Utah. I'm not sure that they would automatically give Darren Peterson the runway and the amount of usage that he's probably used to. He'll probably have to fit. He probably has to try to fit in to this current Utah roster, who I think is going to be really good for this upcoming season. See, Caleb Wilson, same thing. Not same thing. The Bulls are going to be bad, but they have good players, but they're bad. So they have Josh Giddey, they have si Buzelis. I think those two are gonna take a bulk of the shots, But he goes into a situation where there's not much pressure to win. He can just be himself. He can just I do think Thiago Splitter will play him a lot. But he's not the number one option. Unlike si Cam Boozer. So in terms of situation,
Not yet.
being drafted to a team perfect for him, I think it's Cam Boozer, automatic winner. Ganda ng fits in Memphis.
Also the most NBA ready for some people. I had Cam Boozer as one of my big ballers, but not for the reasons that you mentioned, Gab. I just had him because Memphis traded for Beefs too. And I think no one will bully the rookie if Beef Stew is there to be his bodyguard. So I think that's a big plus for Cam Boozer.
He's already a huge dude, si Cambuza. I don't think I think he can be
Well,
bullied.
rookie pa rin siya, diba?
Oh,
So
true.
at least he has Beef Stew to back him up. Maui, who's your baller?
I think one of the winners or ballers from the trade deadline is si Jalen Duren because they decided to trade Beefs too. I think either him or Paul Reed are gonna be one of the biggest winners because right now si Duren I think is being shopped around because I think Detroit lowballed him sa offer. But yeah, definitely one of those two big men. A lot of fantasy junkies, fantasy basketball junkies are probably praying that Jalen Duren gets traded and Paul Reed will be a top 50 fantasy player next season. I think that's one of my ballers of the trade deadline. The NBA draft so far. I think the Jazz also getting Darren Peterson at number 2 is pretty good. Si Ace Bailey definitely won because if the Bants drop to number 2, then it would be they would have to pit against each other on who will be that winner in their lineup. I think Darren Peterson fits nicely also with the Utah Jazz, but I'm excited to see if he's really the real deal because grabe yung comparisons kay Darren Peterson. It was so baffling to see him sit out second halves of games last season, but yeah, I still think that he is also in a better situation than going to a team like Washington who needs to feed a lot of people, especially Trey Young, who's there. So let's see.
Yeah. For me, I think yung first four teams taking the first four picks are winners. I pretty much all according to the script. Yung first four picks, no surprises there, no big swerves or crazy picks. I think for draft this good, this deep, they just went with a safe bet. You mentioned the fit ni Boozer. I also like Peterson in Utah, Maui, because I feel like there's also less pressure in him. Siguro, syempre, the issues about Peterson yung all throughout his college year, not playing that much minutes, the injuries. Maybe there's less pressure for him because he's playing for a good team. So, and as Gab mentioned, he's not really required to be the go-to guy or the number one guy. So I think less pressure. So just the teams not going crazy with their picks, I think is a big win. Actually, you can also put the Clippers there. I think for the fifth pick, and getting that fifth pick, which we talked about na before. Yeah.
I,
Any
I can't believe none of you
other
mentioned.
ballers?
The both of you didn't mention a big winner of the draft night is Daryl Morey and the Sixers. The the pick that they got from the Jared McCain deal ended up being a projected top 10 pick guard,
Na
LeBaron
yeah, yeah.
Philon. The guy when I was watching the draft
Sabi nga ni
and
Bill Simmons, he's vindicated. Sabi ni Bill Simmons.
hire him back. Take him back. um, yeah, I think when I was watching the draft, and I think from pick 8 onwards, si Jay Billis was who's the best available? LeBaron Philon. Pick 9, pick 10, who's the best available? LeBaron Philon. That name kept on popping up as a top selection in every pick until finally he fell to the Sixers in the 20s. And the Sixers were like, oh, okay, we'll take him. We need a guard. So, uh, the Sixers, Daryl Morey, good job. it took a while, but good job. And speaking of the
Vindicate.
Thunder,
Next level gaming.
yeah. Uh, Speaking of the Thunder, I think they're a big winner of this draft.
Wemby
I think
stopper ba?
okay.
Yung sinasabi nila yung
Daimara,
Wemby stopper.
no. That is unfair. That is an unfair
Pero maganda highlights niya.
expectation. Maganda highlights, Sam, but that is an unfair
No, I'm not. Yeah,
5'8"
of
yan
expectation.
course, of course.
a
Of
few years
course.
Uh,
ago.
yeah,
Talaga?
yeah,
May
but
play, parang may passing din eh.
meron. But here's my thing: the Thunder again get, I think, bargain contracts on their roster who can be rotation players.
Which they need.
Uh, Actually,
Magiging
Sam, I
mahal na
don't think
yung...
they even need these two players, but it's just
No, I
good
mean
to have
the
them.
small contracts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good. Oh naman, but yeah, Ade Mara and si Bennett Sturts. I love Sturts. I think he's a pretty good playmaker. And if you saw the Thunder without AJ Mitchell and Jalen Williams, they needed the playmakers badly, and they got another one in Bennett Sturts, a very mature player. I think I don't think he's gonna get minutes right away, but if some people get hurt on the Thunder roster, I think you can see him getting some significant minutes here. Especially if they're looking to cost cut, they could trade a guy like Isaiah Joe, and just put another guy on his rookie scale deal in Bennett Sturts there out there, or if they're willing to, if they're gonna move on from Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't think they are immediately for this upcoming season. They have another guy, a 7'3" guy with passing skills, right on the wing on his rookie scale deal.
Kai Soto?
That's sana Kai, sana. Uh Keep on working, buddy. But the Thunder just keep on killing it. The guys they take in the drafts is just keep on benefiting them. They know how to build up, and it wasn't. It was also a good. I think someone on the panel. I think it was si Shams or something, that players don't actually want to work out for the Thunder because they don't want to get picked by the Thunder. Yung narinig nyo to?
Hindi
Do
ko
you,
narinig yun.
they don't want to get picked by the Thunder because their second contract is likely gonna be shit. Mababa because they're gonna get benched. They're gonna get benched for their first
That's
few
true.
years.
That's true.
So they're not gonna be able to demand big money. So they're gonna get a small contract from the Thunder and then saka lang sila gagamitin.
And
Diba?
and you have to understand, diba? A lot of NBA players minsan hanggang second contract lang umaabot, diba? So for gusto nila ma-maximize yung second contract na yun kasi they might not get another one after that. So kaya sobrang crucial nung value dollar amount nung second contract na yun.
Yep. And I think that's a bit crazy. I think we've been praising the Thunder the past couple of seasons, just how they manage their roster construction and and the contracts on their roster. And I think players and agents are starting to catch up to that. We know what you're doing, and we don't want to get a bargain second contract for us. We want as much money as possible. So the agents, they're catching up. The players are getting smarter. They're catching up to what the Thunder are doing.
Yeah, I love that pick. Siguro another one na baller for me, Michigan. Getting a ton of players in the lottery. And also their
pa nila
coach getting
nandun.
hired. Their coach getting hired in Dallas, 'di ba? So good big win for the Michigan team. Nasaan na tayo? Ballers 'yon. Boleros. Okay, Boleros naman. Maui, you can start.
Yeah, wait. Mayroon ako honorable mention, and I think one of my honorable mention winners for the NBA draft is actually the NCAA, because one of the players picked towards the end of the second round, Narcisse Ngoy, is eligible to play back for Auburn next year and was still drafted in the NBA. So this is something unusual that maybe not a lot of people were able to get were able to kasi ngayon the NBA is two days. So it was not really publicized, but I think this is a big win. Maybe we see a player like Larry Bird who threatens to stay another year in school in the NCAA in the future. But yeah, one loser for me of the NBA draft. Definitely the teams that lost on the picks. And I think one of the teams that really lost out in the NBA draft is, well, obviously the Clippers have been losing, but I could actually see that they're now the winners because it's finally over. 'Di ba yung trade, yung Paul George trade is finally completed. But my biggest loser of the NBA trade in the NBA draft is actually the New Orleans Pelicans, who lost out on their pick when they got Derrick Queen last year. So will this be another season where we see them trying to experiment Queen and saying he's the next Jokic? Will this be the season that they decide to trade Zion Williamson? Or will they continue on their mediocre run for the New Orleans Pelicans? So I'm so much disappointment on my end because I was really very high on this team a few seasons ago.
Gab.
Uh, ako ewan. The Hawks pick Kingston Flemings. Parang you could make an
Magaling yun.
argument. Yeah, magaling. But you could make an argument that maybe with what Derek Queen showed, that maybe he has more upside. I don't know. Hindi ako masyadong convinced na bolero ang Pelicans. But yung gets ko naman, they could have had another player, young player on their roster, diba? So gets ko naman yun. But yeah, for me, the biggest bolero is, and I think this has been an observation for how many NBA drafts already, is it's the commissioner announcing trades. I think it's one of the worst parts of the NBA draft. Because
Wait, is it just the announcing of the trades, or ako yung people always bring this up, yung hats, yung caps?
no, it's
Na
the
mali.
announcing of the
Oh, okay,
it's the
okay.
announcing of the trade, Sam. Because he'll go. It used to be when David Stern would go up on the stage and like, we have a trade to announce, and the crowd would be like, what? There's a
May music
trade.
pa eh, di ba? May
Oh.
music pa.
Oh, but now
Oh,
we have a
may
trade to
music pa.
announce. Yeah, but now we have a trade to announce, and then the crowd's like, "What?" And Miami is trading the 13th pick to the Milwaukee Bucks. And the crowd's like, "Yeah, we knew that already." It's always like that now. There were a ton of trades that we have a trade to announce. The Memphis Grizzlies are trading the 17th pick to go are trading the 16th pick to I forgot who was the 17th pick, but they traded down one. But it had already been announced by Shams like 10 minutes ago that this was happening. And then si Adam Silver says it on stage, and wala na excitement nung we have a trade to announce. Alam na eh. I don't know. Maybe the
Hindi mo
broadcast
na kailangan panoorin.
Oh.
Diba? You just wait on X in social media for the news.
Diba? It's kind of destroyed that excitement of having a trade announced during the NBA draft. I don't know, should ESPN or ABC just keep Shams out of it? Like, don't announce anything.
I think to a certain extent, 'di ba, ganun nga yung ginagawa nila. That's why parang I don't know, they tiptoe on like yung wording, 'di ba? Parang Milwaukee is thinking about getting Ament or something like that. So I think that's why, because they're trying to prevent them from leaking the information. But yeah, to your point, it's not the ideal it's not the ideal way of announcing the trades when everybody else knows about the trade already. And adding to that, like, I just want to jump on that because this one has been talked about in podcasts before. Then for me, the Caps, like, this guy was traded already, pero they have to wear the cap of the team that they're never going to play for, diba? So 2026 na, is there really no way for us to set it up para masuot nila yung tamang cap? Because for me, it's just so awkward. May kita mo yung mga pictures and then you get so
Pang
confused.
NBA
Like,
cards daw, Sam.
pang
Pero
NBA
reveal
cards,
yan.
di ba? Kalito no? Like si Nate Ament, di ba? Like wearing a Miami hat and cap instead of a Milwaukee cap. Yun. Yeah, actually yun yung bolero ko, but I wanted to add something else. I think yung naging viral argument between si Joe Lacob and si Mike Dunleavy Jr. for sa Golden State na they looked like they were arguing over the pick. That was funny. Actually hindi naman siya bolero, but to me it was like funny to see that. What else sa draft? I think it was weird for me na first time na NBA draft na Knicks fans were happy. Knicks fans were happy during the draft. Kasi usually, pag NBA draft,
Hindi pa sila
Knicks
masaya.
fans would
Ano
boo,
pa?
di ba?
Kailan pa?
Di ba? Nagbo-boo sila eh. Like, pag magda-draft yung boo!
They booed the Spurs.
They booed the Spurs. I love that. But like, with the Knicks pick, they were happy. So, something new. I forgot to mention that as a baller. Other notes sa draft.
Ako,
Parang yun lang naman for
I
me.
do have a bolero, and you mentioned him, Sammy. Morris Johnson and the Dallas Mavericks. I did not like this pick because
Wala eh.
it
coach.
screamed. Yeah, it screamed of. I like the coach was like, I like this guy, so let's draft him. But does he actually fit beside Cooper Flag? He's an undersized big. He can't really shoot. Well, so what's his role in Dallas? I think Dallas needed to get a guard just because Kyrie was not on their timeline. Was not on Cooper Flag's timeline.
And maraming guards dun
yeah,
sa
and,
back half of the lottery.
Yeah, there were a lot of guards available, and they got their coach's favorite player. I don't understand that. I think they could have gotten a better play. I forgot who went after that, but someone like LeBaron Philon, I think could have been an excellent get for Dallas to play beside Cooper Flag, because who was playing beside Cooper Flag yung last season? It was Brandon Williams and Ryan Nembhard. I don't think you'd want to run that back. They're probably gonna get
In
Kyrie
fairness
back.
to them, they were serviceable, like surprisingly decent. Pero yeah.
Yeah,
Pang
but
playoff team, pang lottery.
Hindi pang playoff team,
oh yeah, so yeah, Kyrie is there, but I don't think Kyrie is gonna stay for the long term with this young Mavericks team. So I would have wanted them to get more upside. Yung maybe si Morris Johnson ends up being a really good player. I just don't see the upside, especially with his lack of shooting. They already have PJ Washington, who they just signed, I think, to an extension. I would have wanted also that they get another big, another center with Derek Lively's injury problems. Daniel Gafford, I don't think they'd want to keep Daniel Gafford for the long term. So there were players available at that pick that I think would have served them better, but they chose Morris Johnson, and I didn't like that. The other one who I didn't like was si Alex Caravan, yung UConn guy na shooter.
Saan nga siya?
Na he went to the Kings. Now I get it. He can stretch the floor. He can give space to Darius Akoff.
Uy, maganda yung Akoff pick.
Yeah,
to be fair
I like
to the Kings.
Akoff pick. I didn't like the
Until they
Caravan.
traded in 2 to 3 years.
I think for me, they go for upside. You're the Kings. You guys suck. You still have the veterans who you refused to trade last season, in DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, Malik Monk. They're all still there, and the young guys that you have don't seem to have playmaking upsides. Keegan Murray.
They overpaid.
Yeah, they overpaid. Si Nick Clifford, parang role player lang siya. Si Maxime Reynaud, I like, but I would have wanted him to get more upside. Not with an older knockdown shooter. Diba? I like Alex Caravan, but I don't think he's star player upside, you know. They didn't like that pick, si Alex Caravan. Other than that, wala namang egregious na pick. I was prepared to say the Atlanta Hawks. I think they got si Zuby Ed, Ejiofor ba yun? Basta, they got a 6'9 center, but they already have a 6'9 center. But they made up for it in the second round. So, they got si Vesar from North Carolina, I think. So, I was prepared to say them, but binawi nila nung second round. So, yun lang naman.
Yung pick ng Lakers, Gab, hindi mo na-mention.
I like him. I like him.
natin batiin. Baka ma-Dalton Connect tayo ulit dyan, Brad.
yun sasabihin ko eh. Is this the next Kinect?
In fairness, I was never high on the Dalton Connect pick. A lot of my Lakers friends yung Lakers fans friends were. I'm like, really? This guy is just an old shooter. He's just like si Alex Caravan. So I like si Carr. I think there's
Cameron
upside
Carr.
here. So the Lakers have always, you know,
The best
for the most
player
part,
in the combine.
yeah.
Talaga?
and
Hindi ko alam yun.
Oh, he was. And given the Lakers, you know, draft history, they do tend to draft fairly well. Siguro yung mga outliers lang was si Dalton Kinect, perhaps si Lonzo, but si Lonzo ended up being a decent player. So, let's see. I like the Cameron Carr one.
Okay. Any last words, Maui, before we go?
Much like the UAAP, we hope for more trades, for more news.
Akala ko may trades na sa UAAP. Yeah, hindi
Ay,
pa
meron.
tatapos.
May Aldous Torculas for payosing tayo last off-season, di ba?
Okay, that's true, that's true. Okay. Hindi pa tatapos, so let's watch out for more NBA free agency updates, signings, trades, and let's go Summer League. Summer
Kai
League na
Soto,
yun
let's
next.
go.
Let's go Kai Soto.
Let's go,
Shout
Kai
out to
Soto.
Gilas din pala. That's it for today's episode. Stay tuned for more.
This
We'll
was
see you again
therapeutic.
next time.
Thank you. This was therapeutic.
Bye-bye.